Hello everyone, welcome back to Genius Knowledge Point, your one place for practical programming solutions for computer and IT students. I am making this video to provide practical knowledge to all students so that you can develop your own programs which will be helpful for your studies as well as career. In this video we will see practical number 9 of Java programming, which is designed for Diploma Computer and IT, case scheme and 4th semester syllabus. And the topic in this practical is implementation of interface. So anyone who wants to learn about interface in Java programming can follow this video, and he or she can understand the concept of interface, why it is used and how it is created. So directly going toward the concept, so we have to implement interface in this practical. So before that we have to understand the concept of inheritance that we have seen already in previous practical, that is practical number 8. So there you will understand the concept of inheritance, how to create inheritance, how classes are inherited. So to start interface, we have to understand the type of inheritance, that is multiple inheritance. So what is multiple inheritance? If you see this diagram, I have two classes, that is class A and class B. Inside that class A I am creating one variable, that is var1, and in class B also I am creating var1 as a variable. So whenever I am inheriting these two classes into another class, that is class C, what will happen? Class C will have two copies of var1 because it will be inherited from class A as well as class B. So it will create a problem, it will create a confusion inside our compiler, Java compiler, because we have two copies of var1 variable and both the copies are from different classes, but they are inherited in C. That's why it will have two copies and it will create a confusion for class C that which copy to take. So that is called ambiguity problem, and that is present in our object oriented programming concept or C++. That problem is present. So to remove this problem, Java has a feature, that is interface. So we create interface, and using that interface we can avoid this problem of ambiguity. So what is interface? Interface is similar to class. It is having a name, that is interface name. We will be providing name to the interface. Then inside interface we will be creating variables, but those variables will not be normal variables. Those variables will be considered as constant. So whenever we are creating variable inside interface, we have to assign some values. Those variables will be taken as constant, or the word for Java programming is final word is there. So those variables will be final variables. So we have to assign some value while creating variables inside interface. Then the functions inside interface are always considered as abstract. That means there is no function body. The function will not have any code. There will be only declaration of those functions. So where does this function definition will be? That will be taken, or that will be defined inside our subclasses. The class that is inheriting this interface, there we will be defining these functions, and the variables will be taken as a constant as it is inside our subclass. So what it will do, whenever we are creating interface for this second class, so automatically the naming of the variables will be having constant values. So automatically those variables will be taken as a final variable, so we cannot override them. So automatically the class C, so if you are taking this class B as an interface, so I am just erasing this class because it is interface now. So what it will do, the variables will be automatically taken into the class C. Those will be constant variables. That's why we cannot override them, we cannot name them here. And the functions will be defined here inside our class C. So automatically we will be executing our class C's definition that is applied for those functions. So this is how Java is avoiding, or Java is removing the problem of ambiguity, and you can achieve multiple inheritance inside Java, which is not possible in C++ language, because the problem of ambiguity is there. So this is how the interface will be used, and it is similar to class, the definition that we will see in our coding. So now moving toward the practical related question. So first question is, develop a program to find area of rectangle and circle using interface. So we have to create an interface, and using that interface we have to create two classes, that is rectangle class and circle class, and using those classes we have to calculate their areas. So we will be creating interface first, then we will be creating both the classes, and both the classes will be inheriting interface. So that we will see in coding. So moving toward the code directly. So initially I am creating an interface, that is interface shape. So to create a class we use class keyword. So to create interface we have to use interface keyword. So this is the keyword, and shape is the name of my interface. So I am creating interface shape. Inside interface I am creating one variable. As I have said earlier, the variables inside interface are always final. So I have to put some value in front of the variable. I have to assign some value. So I am taking pi variable as a float data type, and I am assigning value as 3.14. So whenever you are assigning float value or you are passing float value, you have to pass f in front of that. So I am passing 3.14 f. So this is how my variable is created, which is taken as final or constant. Then the methods or functions inside interface are taken as, or they are just declared, they are not having any function body. So I am declaring void calculate area. So this is the function name, which is calculate area, and I am not defining it, I am just declaring it. That's why I am putting semicolon in front of the function declaration. So this is how the interface is created, and I am closing the interface bracket. Next I am creating class rectangle. So class space rectangle. Now whenever we are inheriting our class superclass, we use extends keyword, but in case of interface we have to use implements keyword. So I am using implements shape. So this means shape interface is inherited into rectangle class. So automatically the properties inside shape will be taken into rectangle class. So what are the properties inside shape? Pi value will be taken, and this calculate area function will be taken, which is not defined. So we have to define it because it is abstract function. So whenever a function and a function is abstract, we have to compulsory redefine it inside our inherited class. So that's why we have to redefine it inside our rectangle class. So inside rectangle class I am creating some extra variables which are float length and width. So length and width will be taken. Next I am creating constructor of this rectangle class. So the constructor name will be rectangle, same as the class name. Then inside parameter bracket I am passing two float values which will be taken or which will be copied into length and width variable of this class variables. Next, as I have said, we have to redefine, we have to compulsory define the function which is declared inside our interface. So I am defining public void calculate area. So whenever you are defining your interface function, you have to put public keyword before that. That function should be public always. So public void, and the function name is calculate area, which is inherited from our interface. Next, inside our calculate area function I am taking float a is equal to length into width. So this is just a mathematical calculation part, and the value will be stored into a variable, and I am just printing that area value, that is area of rectangle, and attaching a variable. So this is how the calculate area function will be calculating area of this rectangle using this length and width. We have not used pi here because rectangle is not having pi value. We don't need pi value inside our rectangle area calculation. So the class is complete here. Next I am creating one more class, as we have given in the question. We have to calculate the area of circle. So for that purpose I am creating one more class, class circle implement shape. Again I am using inheritance here. I am inheriting shape interface using implements keyword. So both the properties inside shape will be taken into circle class. So pi will be taken, and this function declaration will be inherited into this circle class. So I am taking extra variable as float radius for calculation of circle area. Next I am defining a constructor. So circle, and passing one parameter, that is float r value. That r value will be copied into radius variable. Next I am defining the calculate area function, which is already declared inside our shape interface. So we have to define it. Again I am using the same method, public then space void, then calculate area function. Next, inside function I am taking float a variable again, and this time I am using pi variable, which is inherited from shape interface, and this pi value we have already assigned inside our shape interface because it is constant. So pi into radius, this is the formula, and the calculation will be taken and the value will be stored into a variable, and I am just printing that area of circle and attaching a variable. So this is how the area of circle will be calculated, and both the classes are complete here. So we have created one interface, and using that interface we have inherited into two classes. One class is rectangle class and second class is circle class. Now it is time to define our main class, that is public class interface demo. Inside that I am taking main function. So public static void main string args, because we need main class to store main function. So for that purpose main function is there, and main class should be same as the file name. So I am creating one object of rectangle, that is rectangle space rectangle. If you see, this is the class name because R is taken as capital, which we have defined in our rectangle class, and this rectangle is object name. The R is having lowercase letter, so this is the object name, and is equal to new rectangle, and I am passing two float values using f. So 10.0f and 5.0f, those values will be passed into this constructor of rectangle class, and from those constructor parameters they will be copied into length and width variables. So this is how length and width are passed here, that will be set inside our rectangle object. Similarly, I am creating one more object which is of circle class. Circle is equal to new circle, and just passing single parameter because circle constructor is having single float value. So this value will be copied into rectangle. So this value will be copied into radius. So this is how length, width of rectangle and radius of circle is initialized. Then I am just calling the functions, which is rectangle.calculate area. So this function will be called, and it will run this coding. It will calculate the area and display the area of rectangle. Similarly, circle.calculate area function will calculate the area of circle and display that. So this is how we are displaying both the areas of two different shapes, and we have used interface here. So I am just saving this coding. Then to run this code I have to go to the location where my file is saved. So going to the location and opening cmd here. So cmd, then the first command is java c, then space classname.java. So I am just copying this class name. So if you see there is no error, that means program is successfully compiled. Then I am just putting second command java space interface demo and pressing enter. The output is generated. Area of rectangle is calculated, which is 50. If you see the output according to our values 10 into 5.0, so 50 is correct. Then the area of circle is calculated as 153.86002. So that is calculation using pi and square of radius. So this is how both the areas are calculated and the output is generated properly. And we have used interface concept here. There is only one question in this practical related questions, but we have to use interface. The concept of interface is important here because interface is used in many multiple inheritance programs, because we need multiple inheritance to achieve more functionalities in our single Java program. So that's why interface is always needed, and that we will be using in our GUI programming. So that is graphical user interface programming. We need many interface, and those interface are used using this method only. We have to use implements keyword, and multiple inheritance is achieved in this manner. So this is how this practical number 9 is completed. So that's it for today's practical. I hope you understand the program clearly. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such programming solutions, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. If you have any doubts or need solutions for other programs, drop a comment below. I will be happy to help. Thanks for watching and happy coding.